Leader of the SNP, Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm sure we're all looking forward to the European Championships kicking off later this week. Can I take the opportunity to wish all the best to our country, Scotland, to Steve Clarke and the team, and to remind the team it is time for heroes. Mr Speaker, later this week the Prime Minister will walk into the G7 summit as the only leader, Prime Minister, cutting development aid to the world's poorest. At the very moment when global leadership is needed more than ever, this Tory government is walking away from millions still struggling from the COVID pandemic and a poverty pandemic. The Prime Minister has been hiding on this issue for months. This is a government on the run from their own moral and legal responsibilities, and on the run, Mr Speaker, from their own backbenchers. But the Prime Minister can't hide from this issue any longer, and he can't run from democracy in this House. Will he stand up today and commit to a straight vote in this House on his inhumane cuts as demanded by the Speaker? Prime Minister, it is a very simple question. Yes or no?
And by the way, Mr Speaker, wish all the very best to Scotland and England and all the home nations who may be playing in this. I don't know whether he's going to reciprocate, Mr Speaker, but you never know. It's worth a shot. I thought. Oh, you did? Okay, there you go. That's nice of him. Anyway, Mr Speaker, I think the answer is clear. The people of this country, as I said to the right honourable gentleman, were given a vote on this and many other matters very recently, and I think they adjudicated very firmly in favour of the balance the government is striking. We are in very, very difficult financial times, but you shouldn't believe the lefty propaganda, Mr Speaker, that you hear from people opposite. We're spending £10 billion overseas. We've increased. All they want to do is run this country down, Mr Speaker. Run this country down. When we've increased spending on girls' education alone to £500 million, almost £500 million. That is a fantastic sum of money to be spending in difficult times, Mr Speaker. We should be proud.
Ian Blackford.
Mr Speaker, I have to say I don't think I've ever heard the previous Prime Minister, the right honourable member for Maidenhead, called a leftist propagandist. The simple fact of the matter, Prime Minister, is every single party, every single member of this House stood on a manifesto commitment of 0.7%. The Prime Minister has reneged on that, and the Speaker has indicated that the government should allow a vote on it. It's pretty basic stuff. After a year dealing with the deadly virus, why can't the Prime Minister get this? In a pandemic, no one is safe until everyone is safe. Now is the time to support each other, not to walk away from those in need. People are dying and they need our help. The Prime Minister has the nerve to brag about the government support for the vulnerable, and at the very same time, he is slashing £4.5 billion from the world's poorest. In the week of the G7, what kind of world leader washes their hands of responsibility by cutting water and hygiene projects by more than 80% in the middle of a pandemic?
Mr Speaker, I may say that I think that the last contribution was absolutely disgraceful, because the people of this country have gone through a very difficult time. We've had to spend £407 billion supporting jobs, families, livelihoods throughout the country, and yet we are continuing to support international vaccination. £1.6 billion this country has contributed to Gavi. I think £548 million to COVAX. And let me just remind him of the statistic I mentioned earlier. 1 in 3 of the vaccines being distributed around the world to the poorest and the neediest come from the Oxford AstraZeneca supply. Thanks to the deal this government did. Or does the name Oxford AstraZeneca continue to stick in his craw, Mr Speaker?
Scott Benton.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. May I welcome plans outlined by the Education